The most beautiful province in the whole of the country. I'm sure you all agree. And as much as I love taking the DA's message of hope and change to every corner of our beautiful country, as the old saying goes, there's no place like home. And boy, what an exciting time to be in politics right here in KZN. Because everywhere you go, from Umlazi to Umhlanga, from Pietermaritzburg to Pongola, you can feel the energy. You can feel that change is coming here. And that's because the people here know that change is coming on the 29th. The people of KZN can feel it because it's here. It's here in KZN where that tidal wave of change is going to start and sweep like a tsunami across every corner of the country. KZN is the epicenter. And I want to say thank you today. I want to say thank you to each and every DA activist, every member, every supporter, and every single one of our leaders for the incredible work that's being done here in this province, in this campaign.
Yes.
Let me tell you, Dean, Francois, Chris, and the others, that the country is sitting up and taking notice of what is happening here in KwaZulu-Natal. So I want to thank you as the provincial leadership, but I also want to thank our incredible Premier candidate, Chris Pappas.
Yay!
And I'm going to get things going this morning with a great statistic. Because the Social Research Foundation, which does in-depth polling, is now so interested in KZN that it is polling here every single day. And according to them, if there was an election here today with a 60% turnout, the Democratic Alliance would emerge as the largest party in this province. If election was held today, it would show that the DA would get 26% of the vote, the ANC 25% of the vote, MK 23%, and the IFP 16%. Now, I've been involved in politics in this province for my entire life. This is where I started my political career. And if you had asked me 22 years ago, when I became a councillor on the Durban City Council, whether I would ever live to see this day, I probably would not have believed what you were telling me. But we've done it, Democrats. You've done it. And you deserve a huge round of applause for that. And it's because of your hard work. It's because of your relentless political activity. It's because of the strong leadership in this province that on the 29th of May, we're going to make history here in KZN together. And apart from the hard work of all of our activists and all of our people on the ground, there's another reason why we're going to do well here and why change is coming. Because we all know that the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal is not in the ICU anymore, they're in the deathbed. That's where they are. And on the 29th of May, we're going to switch off the machine and end the ANC here in KwaZulu-Natal forever. It's so terrified. It's so terrified of what's coming on the 29th of May that it's spending all of its time and all of its energy fighting the MK party. They've forgotten about the people. They're no longer fighting for the people. They're fighting against the MK party. But you see, the secret is that while they are so obsessed with MK, we are out there standing up and talking for the people of this province. And that's why we're up in the polls, because voters can see. We're a party that doesn't talk about getting things done, we get things done. We're not a party that talks about moving this province forward. We're doing it in Umgeni municipality under Chris Pappas and his amazing team there. And we're going to take that across every corner of the province. And all they care about is fighting for their own positions. That's all this is about. But let them continue telling us and showing us how scared they are of the 82-year-old man, because we in the DA, we're not scared of anything. Ons skrik vir niks. Ons is nie bang nie. There's only one group of people that we're fighting for in this election, and that's the people of KwaZulu-Natal. And as the old saying goes, when two dogs are busy fighting over a bone, it's the third one that always comes in and gets away with the bone. And on the 29th of May, we're going to shock the nation and shock the world when we run away with the bone with a win here in KwaZulu-Natal. But Democrats, it's also so good to be with you here today for another reason altogether. And that is that today is Freedom Day in South Africa. So, happy Freedom Day, KwaZulu-Natal. This is a day that commemorates 30 years of our democracy. On this day, it's important to think back to what the country voted for on the 27th of April, 1994. Now, as much as that day was about celebrating equality, diversity, and democracy, it was also about the most important freedom of all, and that is economic freedom. In 1994, millions of South Africans flocked to polling stations to vote for a new future, a future where everyone would have the financial means to live a life of dignity. They voted for economic freedom because true freedom is only possible when you have a job to meet the needs of your family and to build a stable and better future for you and your family. Freedom without a job is a form of abuse, and that is the reality. And that is exactly what the ANC have done for the past 30 years. They've manipulated, they've abused South Africa with promises that they knew they could never fulfill, and yet they continue to try and manipulate our people even today. And the truth is that the ANC has done more than anybody and any organization and anything in this country to make people more economically unfree. In 1994, the unemployment rate was 20%. Today, it is nearly 33%, and it increases to over 40% if we include people who have already given up on ever finding work. So today, as we speak, 7 out of 10 young people younger than 24 years old cannot find work. The ANC has condemned an entire generation of young people to grinding hardship. Many of these young people are graduates who worked hard and used their last cents to obtain a tertiary education. But now many of them are not in work, they're not in jobs, they're begging at traffic intersections, wearing their graduation gowns. How can it be, in a country with so much promise and so much potential, that we have graduates begging at traffic lights just for a job? That is the cruel manipulation of the ANC in action. They promised us dreams, but they have delivered us nightmares. And we're here today to say we're not going to take that anymore. And on the 29th of May, we are going to draw a line under this abuse and this manipulation by voting for the DA. By voting for the DA. So, this election is about economic freedom. 1994 was about political freedom. But this election is about economic freedom. And so let's remember and commemorate the 29th of May 2024 as the day that we brought economic freedom to all the people in South Africa. We will never achieve freedom if the Doomsday Coalition gets into power. We will never achieve freedom if those radical policies of nationalization, of expropriation, of prescribed assets, of nationalizing the Reserve Bank are actually brought up. Our country does not need to have 30 million people trapped in poverty. We don't need to have young children dying of hunger. We don't need to have one of the highest unemployment rates in the country. To understand how far South Africa has fallen, we learned just this week that an international mining company has now made a bid for the Anglo-American company, perhaps the most iconic of all South African companies. And while we respect the market bid, it's disturbing to read that this bid was conditional on them unwrapping and unwinding South Africa's platinum ore and iron ore units, because international companies do not want to be exposed to our country. There are 95,000 people who work at Anglo-American. By making South African and our economy toxic to international investors, by destroying infrastructure, and by robbing us of our economic freedom, the ANC has put one of our most iconic companies and 95,000 jobs at risk. Now, make no mistake about it. This lack of economic freedom in South Africa is not a result of some natural disaster. It's not as a result of some weather phenomenon. It is a man-made disaster. It is man-made. It is a disaster created by the men and women in the ANC. But because it is man-made, we can fix it, and we can turn it around, and we can make it better. We can take this country from being the biggest unemployment man-made disaster to being a man-made success story in the country. And all we need to do is to use the power of our
vote.
We use the power of our vote on election day. Now, this isn't just empty talk. There's only one province in this country that is currently run by the DA, and that's the Western Cape. And over the past 5 years, because it's very easy for parties to talk and to put things on their posters that they're going to create jobs, but it's another thing to actually do it. Over the past 5 years, the one province governed by the DA has created nearly 8 out of every 10 jobs created in the entire country. Now that deserves a round of applause. In 1 year alone, the Western Cape delivered 360,000 new jobs. So, the message is clear. If you want a job, vote for the DA.
Yes!
If you want true economic freedom, vote for the DA. Because the DA is the only party that has proven that we can get these things done. And to back it up, to show you how serious we are, yesterday I launched the DA's new economic policy. It is an economic plan that is going to unleash a jobs revolution in South Africa. It is a deeply impressive document, and I encourage every Democrat in our party to read it. It is a document that shows how serious we are about governing South Africa. And it sets out how we intend to create those jobs by creating a business-friendly environment, by heading off the NHI and the nationalization of assets. We're going to replace the corruption of BEE with a proper broad-based empowerment plan for the country that lifts the 30 million people out of poverty and into opportunity. We're going to create a business-friendly environment and turn South Africa into the start-up nation. You see, our country is filled to the brim with young entrepreneurs and young business people who need only one thing, and that is a government that is on their side, that is working for them and not against them. Imagine how many roads and railways we can fix with a government that was serious. The DA will apply our principles of good, clean, accountable government by using every cent of your tax money on the people. We will fundamentally reform labor legislation to get South Africa working again. We'll introduce a youth unemployment opportunity certificate, which will make sure that young people have a chance at finding work. Through our Youth Employment Opportunity Certificate, the DA today declares war on youth unemployment, because you cannot have young people sitting without work. We will ensure that we amend NEDLAC's rules to make decisions that actually create jobs. We will make collective bargaining far more representative, and we will help small businesses. We will remove export duties where they're holding us back, and we'll create an export environment where we can produce competitively. By relentlessly pursuing economic freedom, we can change South Africa forever. And we will achieve all of this because true economic freedom can only be delivered if you have a government that understands how to create jobs, where to create jobs, and getting it done on the ground. So, we're going to deliver true economic freedom to the unemployed single mother who can't afford food for her children. We're going to deliver true economic freedom to the unemployed graduate who spent every cent that they had on finding money to get themselves to university, but who now cannot find work. We're going to deliver true economic freedom to the father of 4 who's lost his job due to load shedding and now worries how he's going to feed his family. And so to all of those people, wherever you may be in KwaZulu-Natal or around the country, I have a message for you today on this Freedom Day. And that message is this: help is on the way. And help is on the way through the DA. Help is on the way through the DA, because by voting for the DA, you will get a new government with the right plan, with a proven track record, and with the people that it takes to make the change. And if you don't believe me, I'm going to call the very people I'm talking about onto the stage now. And I call our candidates, our provincial leadership, onto the stage to come and join here so that you can see South Africa and KwaZulu-Natal. This team, let's give them a big round of applause.
Hey! KZN leadership, KZN leadership, Viva KZN leadership, viva! Viva KZN leadership, viva!
Viva!
Hoi hoi, KZN leadership, hoi hoi!
Oi, oi!
This is the team. This is the team that's going to take KwaZulu-Natal to new heights. So if you want a big party with a proven track record, it's job creation. To anchor a new government here in KwaZulu-Natal, then you have to vote for the DA.
Yay!
If you want that same strong anchor party to lead and unite a government at a national level to rescue South Africa from unemployment, you've got to vote for the DA.
Yay!
And if you want on this Freedom Day true economic freedom for you and your family, then you've got to do it on the 29th of May and vote for the DA. I know, Democrats, we can do it. We must do it. And I know that together we will do it. Let's get out there and make it happen.
Halala, tiye, halala! Mawapume, masala, mawapume! Viva John Steenhuisen, viva!
Viva!
Viva the next president of South Africa, John Steenhuisen, viva!
Viva!
Amandla!
Awethu!
And now to all of you Democrats, I want you all to stand, because the Democratic Alliance is a proud party. And the country of South Africa is a proud country. And we as Democrats are proud South Africans. So I want you to stand and join me in singing our national anthem, the soundtrack to our march to the Union buildings on the 29th of May, the soundtrack to us liberating KwaZulu-Natal and other provinces. We love South Africa, and that is why we remain determined to rescue South Africa. God bless you, Democrats. God bless South Africa, and God bless all of us as we set out on this journey to rescue our country.